afternoon, everyone. I already got the remark that I'm the digital guy because of my shirt. Sorry, that's the way I dress. I'm Dutch. It's a Dutch dressing code. So my question for today was, so how is the agency changing and how will it change? And as already mentioned, I kind of have two jobs. So on one side, I focus on digital, on the other side, programmatic. And actually, it is one of the key drivers of change in the future. So I thought I'd try to combine it a little bit and talk about how we see things changing. And I think the fun part will be the discussion after hearing last presentation and how we see things. So maybe you've seen this slide, but I still like it. It's I think, a very good example that if you look at how our industry is changing, it's kind of like the finance industry for what was it, in the 80s, where people talk about like the old manual thing and they were buying and selling and screaming and yelling, and someone just explained to me that's how media was done in the past. But now everything is automated, and it's not that when it's automated, it's just better with less people or anything else, but the whole system, the whole ecosystem actually changed. The whole ecosystem on how they made money, the speed of how transactions are happening, everything really changed. And that's basically what's going to happen and what is happening as we speak. I really enjoyed all the parts about content, and I think content is critical if you talk about the effectiveness of media. But the other part is this part. It is about what is technology and data delivering us and offering us to change the way we actually work and deliver more results. Some of the guys at our company, they did it. How many traders are here? No trading, no buying, nothing, not that much, few. So what I always say is, listen guys, you were very good at lunching. You went out, you went for lunch, you had a good meeting, you just negotiated a good price, and that's it. We're moving from the lunching to the crunching. That doesn't mean you skip the lunch, but you need data. You need more knowledge to actually know why you want a certain price. So we're changing in the way we work, and we're really changing, I would say, quite fast. So yes, one very texty slide, but programmatic is changing that. And the key thing in that is that we're moving away from how we buy media. We're moving away that we don't buy media in just bulk anymore, but we take a per impression decision. And although this is just a digital thing, and although it just started with display, the basis of what we're moving into is a nanosecond decision of, do I want this contact? And what do I know of this contact? That is not a human deciding anymore. It's a human facilitating, probably. But the essence is the nanosecond decision on what do I do with this contact? What do I do with this contact in the future for TV or radio or whatever? Everything that's IP enabled will move into a space that will become programmatic. And programmatic is not just RTB, because I saw some slides on we bid, bid, bid. Programmatic is more than just a bidding functionality. It is about bringing the two sides together in an automated way, where some of the functions and the way it actually originated is through RTB. But you now see that technology, DSPs, SSPs, everything, are developing ways where we do some sort of more the traditional buys, so the direct guaranteed buys, but we can still pick per impression what we want to buy. So I like the simplicity. In the end, what we want, it's two sides. There is data and there is technology. On one side, we want to optimize our media, and we have to do that safe. We have to do that transparent, and we have to do that fast. But on the other side, what people also forget, and I know I come from a media agency, is that the same data and technology offers great creative opportunities. And also, if you talk to the creative agency, I think there's a big challenge. If you think about content and about storytelling, what can you do and how can you tell stories if you know more about the consumer you're talking to? Sometimes it's very boring if you tell someone a story who you don't know. You kind of tell the story and it's like, is it landing, yes or no? Like now, me, is it landing? I don't know. But if I would know you, I would use examples. And I would use a little bit of recognition in there. And you can tell the story in a much nicer, friendlier, and it will touch more people. So the challenge in programmatic is not just about let's use technology. The challenge we have is how do we as an industry start to use technology and data in a way that on one side we can optimize our media, but on the other side, how do we do the right messaging? How do we do the right creativity? How do I dance? Does it work? Nah, not anymore. If I just say click, do you click? Click. Cool. So now we're moving into a voice response system. I'll just say click. He does the click thing. That's cool. So you've seen this slide. I didn't like the other one, so I thought I made it a little bit less complex. But it's the same slide that we're moving into a new ecosystem. And the ecosystem with different players, which almost make it more difficult for everyone to work in. But it's not that complex. In the end, there's still a buy side and there's a sell side. In the end, there's still a brand and a consumer. It's still about making that connection and how do we facilitate that in a more efficient way. I'm trying to, do I say click or do we do it like this? Cool. Did you click now or did I click? We both clicked. We had a connection. Cool. So I'll be very careful with this slide, but I think if we talk about the change, some of the changes are about the partnerships and the companies who are basically moving into this space. I always call it the big five, so there's my love for Africa. But the big five, Google, Facebook, Amazon, you know them, right? The challenge what we have is they're doing great stuff, but they're developing ecosystems, which offers great opportunities. I would say the best opportunities almost to touch that right consumer within their ecosystem, and they're moving fast. But they also hold the data to touch those. If you want to buy at Amazon and use the e-commerce data, you need to use, for instance, their technology. The challenge we have as an agency is, and also the advertisers, I think, is how do we make sure we keep the balance right? How do we make sure we also bring the right things to the table that we can actually still negotiate and have the right exchange? Click. Cool. This is just one example. And again, this is not about be afraid of Google, because I love Google as a company. And I think if we work together with them, I every time see the best results that we can actually deliver in certain cases. But the challenge is they're moving into that closed ecosystem. And that's one of the fundamental questions we have as an agency and also as an advertiser. How do you work with closed ecosystems? How do you move across all those ecosystems? And how do we make sure we can still send the right message to the right consumer to the right price at the right time? So it's not about being afraid, but it's about thinking, what's our model as an agency in a world where there's a couple of dominant players and a couple of smaller players? And how do we position ourselves that we still add value as an agency? And how do we make sure we add value to our clients? One part, by the way, is about that quality aspect. I'm so glad Graft isn't our client at this point, by the way. But I think the quality aspect is important, but it is then about data. And it's about where does it sit? I think in the past it was the publisher who had the most knowledge. And you went to the publisher because he knew more about his audiences. Now it's moving more to the platforms, to the Googles, and they have the most knowledge. The challenge is there in the middle. It's about each touch point you have as an advertiser, each touch point we have for our clients. What can we learn from it? It's not just sending a message. Each moment, each second, each touch point you can learn from. And how do we structure ourselves that we can start learning from each touch point? So it will change the way we work as an agency. It will change the way clients will work. It is about understanding each touch point. It is about how do we store that information? How do we learn from that data? How do we act on it? Which is a total different process than we're used to work in a very linear direction, where it's very much, okay, we got the brief, we got the budget, we got it live. I send a report and it's proven, done. Oh yeah, it was some great results. Every touch point is a learning process. Every moment we'll learn, and we can use to basically optimize our media, and we can use to optimize our creative. We have to start to structure ourselves in that way. Too many movings, but just to give you a little bit of we're moving, and I'm dancing. We're moving more and more from manual to automated in all ways, and we have to. We have to for our clients, we have to for ourselves. No client will pay us for a lot of manual work. Everything that can be automated will be automated and should be automated, so we have time to actually deliver value on other stuff. We're moving away from the placement part to the audience part. Buying media as a proxy of reaching an audience will move away. It is about reaching that audience and knowing that you're reaching that audience, which you still want to do in the right environment with the right publishers, but it's the balance. We're more focusing on audiences. Let me pick one more. I think I kind of like the one because moving away from an opportunity to see in this industry to making sure it's an actual human seeing an actual ad. That's again on the quality part, but it's quite interesting that people say, "Oh, someone didn't saw my ad," or "Is it actually a human?" Yes, it still happens in this industry, and it's our job as an agency to make sure that the ad is seen, that it is a human, and you're paying the right price, and you're getting the right results. So all these things will impact us on how we're remunerated. It will change on how clients will pay us. Some clients want to have full transparency, want everything, and they basically will pay us on a very itemized service. On the data, the tech, everything will be very clear. On the other side, with this technology, some clients say, no, we don't want that. I just want results. I want outcome. So I want it all-inclusive. I always compare it to the, if you go on a holiday for a hotel and everything, you get one price and you get it all. You don't care what the ticket costs. You don't care about all the other stuff. You just want the results. You want to have a great experience. You see a big tendency for clients now also say, listen, I don't care about all this stuff, but give me that result, and it's the outcome that matters. So give me one price, and that's what I'll pay for. That will impact us also as an agency. So it will impact in the people. We have our own process. Each agency has their own process. But who will sit, for instance, in a client team? What are the skill sets we need if it's moving in this direction? Do we have that data analyst in the team? Do we have a project manager in a team? We have to work with the creative agency in a different way. Most still don't have that. It's kind of like we do our own silo and you do your own silo. Who is managing that? And I believe as an agency, someone needs to take charge of that. We need to manage to bring it all together, take those silos away and bring those insights. My 10 minutes are gone, I think. Cool. So in the end, but that's a Mindshare thing probably, it's about how do we get those real-time insights and how do we make them into real-time actions? How do we structure ourselves? And how do we help our clients?